The first time that Brian had me lead a song, oh my Lord. I just started out just singing background with him, you know. And so this one Sunday morning here at Bethel, he was leading and he picked out one song for me to lead. He picked it out. I didn't even pick it out. And I got up there and I'm like, I am so nervous because this is like my first time going to be leading and Bethel and I'm on the stage and the band. I'm just freaking out. And halfway through the song, I just totally killed it. Awful, awful, awful. And I just turned and ran off the stage bawling. And that was it. In the middle of the song, just ran up bawling. And I was crying, and after worship, I was like, I'm never doing this again. I am not called to lead worship. I'm not called to be a worship leader. And Brian and Jen were both like, you'll do it again. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And I was miserable. Let me tell you, I was just miserable because I also had this thing in me of like, hey, listen, for years, I grew up on a stage, but I was performing. Performing and leading worship, two totally different things. And don't mix them up, okay? If you're getting them mixed up, you probably should come down for just a little while, get it sorted out, and then go back up there. In the pursuit of following him, it's like he just brought my destiny to me. I didn't even necessarily have to chase my destiny. It just came. Am I making sense? It's like I'm looking, I have my eyes fixed on him, and I'm looking at him, and I'm walking towards him, and it's like as I'm not looking down or looking over here, he's just putting my steps right in front of me and aligning every step. And that is how it's been for me along the entire way. The very first thing, and this is going to be the first thing I'm going to tell you guys, is I learned never to promote myself. I have never once had to call a church and say, can I come lead worship at your church? I've never had to ask to, do this or do that. I've never promoted myself in any way. And I've always allowed the Lord to just make the path for me and put me where I'm supposed to be at the right time. Because it's so much better when it's in his timing, right? And that doesn't mean that God won't say, I want you to go audition for this team, or I want you to go do this, or it doesn't mean that there won't be a process that he may put you through. That's not what that means. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that it's about trust. It's about trusting that God is who he says he is, and that he will bring about the destiny that he's called you to, and not trying to force something to happen before it's time. Do you get what I'm saying? And so the core value for me, my personal value became, I don't promote myself. I just allow the Lord to open the doors and set me where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be there. Always choose honor first. Have you guys talked about honor in here? It's like super big around here. You guys felt that? Know that? Honor. Honor, culture of honor, it's like everywhere here. And it's a big core value in this place. This is what it looks like for us as worshipers. We are here to serve and to bring people into God's presence. And the only way that we can really do that and be really successful is if we can understand a heart of honor, of honoring those people and honoring the Lord, right? Yeah? You guys with me still? So sometimes it looks like this. I will go into a church and they'll invite me to come and lead worship, and they know ahead of time, like we have kind of a rider kind of thing that we'll send out that kind of like leadership actually made it just as a protection for me. Before I was married, a single young woman traveling by herself, so leadership just wanted to set some parameters to make sure that when I did travel, I was taken care of. And in that, I kind of talked about how I am in worship. One of the things being singing in tongues, which a lot of places, a lot of people have disagreements with. And I would get somewhere, and they would know that ahead of time. I'd get there, and they'd go, oh, and by the way, you know that little thing you do when you sing in tongues? Could you not do that? Now, let me tell you, being a justice person, everything inside me wants to be like, excuse me? I don't think so. Like, I want to be like, don't box me in. Oh, man, watch out. If you try and box me in, you better watch out. That's what I have to say to you. But I don't, because I have a core value of honor that says I am there to honor them. And even if it kills me, I say, all right, sure, no problem. And I go in, I lead worship, I honor them, I don't do that thing they ask me to do. And almost, I would say like 95% of the time, they come back and they go, oh, remember that thing we told you? Just forget about that. Just be yourself. And I'm like, okay, all right. And the point I'm trying to make with that is if you will always choose honor, God will always take care of you. Always. He always got your back, you know? Like, you know the expression, we're talking about being faithful with what we've been given? I think about that in terms of favor. And for me, what that looks like is you can feel your boundaries. Like, you can feel, like, how far you can go. Or even when you're talking in a conversation with a friend and they're, like, talking about a problem or whatever, and you start to put your 2 cents in, you can feel when you've crossed the boundary with that friend. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, maybe you spoke a little too frankly, and you maybe don't have that degree of intimacy with them yet, or whatever, right? So for me, being faithful with what you're given is understanding how much favor you have and being faithful with that. Like, I hear so often they're upset that they're like, I want more favor. I'm not getting to do the things I want to do. I need more favor to do this, to do that. And I'm wondering, well, have you recognized what favor you do have, and what are you doing with it? Like, when I was working, worship pastor and raising people up and stuff like that, we'd get people come in and we'd put people to be worship leaders in home groups, and they would throw such fits about it. And let me tell you, first of all, don't despise small beginnings, because it is way, way, way harder to lead worship in a small home group than up here. I mean, I'm telling you, you want to grow, get in a place like that. I mean, first of all, it's awkward because you're like the only one singing, and it's hard to get, because everyone's like, we're in a small group, I don't want to sing loud. It's like this whole awkward thing. And if you make any mistakes, like, it's so heard more than anything, Up here, the band might cover it or something, but man, home groups are tough. And I would get so frustrated when they didn't want to take this thing with this measure of favor that we gave to them, and they weren't happy with it, and they wanted something else, something bigger. And I'm going, but you have not been faithful with what we did give you. It's like giving you a bunch of ingredients and saying, show me what you can cook with these ingredients. How creative can you get with what you have? Like, that is exactly like this whole idea of choosing honor and understanding where your favor is at and being faithful to that. Like, when I got hired on here, I understood, like, these were my parameters, and I ran as far as I could to the edge of that. I did everything I could within those parameters. I was faithful to that. And then when I got to my edge and I'd exhausted all of my options, I'd sit there like this, just waiting. And at the right time, the Lord would open the door and expand the favor, expand the authority. But it was because I held these 2 things so important: choosing honor, always choosing honor, honoring the vision of Brian and Jen, honoring the vision of this house, honoring the vision of my leaders. And I chose to take the favor I had, even if it was this much, and be thankful for that and be faithful to it. You guys get what I'm saying? I've had a lot of people at times ask me, what do you do if you don't agree with your pastor? If, you're the worship leader and your pastor, doesn't like the songs you do, or they're boxing me in, or, whatever it is. This is what I tell them, and this is just Jim's opinion. But you have 2 options. One is you can leave. Nobody's forcing you to stay there, and if you don't like it, leave. Like, if you've got a problem and you're not getting your way and you can't stand it, you have that option. But the other option is you can choose honor, and you can be faithful with whatever it is that they have given you, and you can earn their trust, and you can choose to honor their leadership over your life, and choose to partner with their vision and serve, and choose to look at it as this is an opportunity for me to see what the Lord will do in my life when I am faithful with what I have right now. Like, that, first of all, is not an easy thing, but it is the most rewarding thing ever. It is an amazing thing when you can go, this is really hard for me, but I'm going to be faithful and serve right now, and I'm going to honor the man that is the leadership over me, the woman that is leadership over me, and I'm going to choose to honor their vision and honor what they're asking me.